Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Tech Clinical Podcast. My name is Hamza. It's amazing to be here and share some thoughts with you. 2025 is already turning out to be a very, very good start to the year, and especially for healthcare entrepreneurs, there are a lot of exciting things that are coming up. And today I'm just going to walk you through a couple of things that we should be looking at as healthcare entrepreneurs, and some of the things that we should be paying attention to, especially when you want to scale exponentially in 2025. There are certain things that you need to start looking at and start reading or start investigating if you have the desire to exponentially grow your business. And the word I'm using here is exponential because there are a lot of traditional methods that you will adapt that would help you obviously escalate and expand everything you're doing right now. But when you start looking at exponential growth, then you have to start thinking outside the box, and you need to start looking at things that have the potential to change the whole outlook of your business and your business flow and your operations. So today's episode, I'm just going to highlight a couple of things that we need to be looking at in 2025. The healthcare landscape is shifting very, very, very fast, and there's a lot of things like AI that are creeping up right now, and we cannot ignore that conversation in healthcare, because regardless of what we think, AI has a role to play in healthcare. So changes like that are making it very easy for people to scale, and until we are able to get into that space where we actually appreciate all these tools that are available to us, we will not be able to really enjoy all the benefits of scaling. So today I'll attempt to look at some trends, some key trends that we need to pay attention in 2025, and I also attempt to suggest certain things that are beginning to show up and should be considered strongly, especially if you want to grow. So welcome once again. If you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe, like, and share. It's always amazing to be here. So the first thing is we are going to talk about is just looking at some key trends. What are some of the things that we have to be looking at as healthcare entrepreneurs, especially when we are looking at growing in this year of 2025? The first thing is AI and AI automation. Now, AI, as I said, whether we like it or not, is becoming a very strong collaborator in healthcare. So regardless of how we look at this and regardless of how we want to interpret the role of AI in medicine, it's beginning to deepen its roots in healthcare practice, in clinical practice, in healthcare administration. It's beginning to make and revolutionize healthcare operations. So regardless of what you want to do, one key trend that you need to be paying attention to is AI automation. The second thing that you need to be looking at is telehealth 3.0. What does this mean? It means that a lot of healthcare businesses and a lot of healthcare delivery services are looking at a hybrid between telehealth and in-person healthcare. So in this case, they are able to optimize and be available to patients in two different platforms. So telehealth 3.0 is something that is beginning to creep its heads, and you have to pay attention to it. The third thing you need to pay attention to, and it's a key trend that you need to be looking at, is the fact that healthcare is becoming customer driven, and customer driven care is beginning to be the minimum ask patients are requiring of healthcare providers and healthcare businesses. What does this mean? It means that the patients are beginning to demand Amazon-like customer experiences. They're beginning to demand Amazon-like convenience as well as transparency. So when you are doing pricing, they need to be able to see them like they're checking out of an Amazon cart. But when you're doing any kind of service, it needs to be as convenient as it should be, because now there's a need for some level of immediate gratification, as well as a lot of room for people to actually look at what they can get, the level of service and the level of convenience they can get from you. So people are beginning to demand this, so you need to pay attention to this. So what do you need to do? You have to make sure right now with all these trends, which is in customer driven care, these are the three things that you just need to look at. Customer driven care, because that is creeping up. Telehealth 3.0, where you have a hybrid of telehealth and in-person care. And then AI and automation. These are three trends that you need to look at in 2025 if you need to grow. And what does this mean? The action you need to take here is that if you are able to make 30% of your tasks repetitive, by the first half of this year, you stand a very good chance of scaling very quickly, because AI is making it very easy for you to free up more resources to be able to divert them or direct them in different directions. So you need to be able to audit your workflows, and you have to look at what can be automated. At least 30% of your workflow that is repetitive can be automated, and this can help you be able to free your resources to focus on other growth strategies. So that's the action there. Now, when you look at so let's look at this in the form of building patient centric care, and just making your practice or your healthcare business a patient centric powerhouse, if I may put it that way. AI driven customer relation management tools have been able to keep and tailor interactions with patients in a very specific way, because they have successfully been able to give feedback loops, and then be able to help patients to be able to refine services through patient surveys. So by that level of interaction, it has helped a lot of people to be able to interact with patients even better. Now, when you look at loyalty programs, which I know most of you run in your hospitals, they tend to boost retention because it makes people feel a need to be part of that group, that community. They feel their loyalty to you as a healthcare business has been rewarded. And so some of those things are very important when you're thinking about a patient-centric care or patient-centric powerhouse as a business. So a lot of this has to be looked at in the form of, what can I do to provide a value that any other competitor is not providing? What in patient-centric care can I do? Should I use AI-driven customer relations management tools? Should I be looking at loyalty programs that are going to retain patients? Because you would want to bring in new patients, but your aim or your goal is to retain them. That's even a bigger task for you to do. So how do you do that? The only way to think about this is to consider the patient not as a customer, but you're considering them as a partner. Because you need to learn how to co-create treatments with patients, get them involved in what you are helping them treat. You need to be able to involve them in their own journey to recovery, and you need to make sure that they feel a part of that decision that was made. So that's the first thing. If you're looking at scaling with technologies such as AI or telehealth, you have to look at ways to reduce wait times. So if you use something like AI diagnostic tools, for instance, for clinicians, this actually plays a very important role. Well, first of all, giving second opinions to clinicians. So I know services like Pearl AI, which is really big in dentistry, and I also know there are other tools like Nebula, which is very, very helpful. But when you look at AI detection tools, cancer screening is getting a lot of traction in cancer screening, in things that the human eye is not able to pick up, but it's able to direct your attention to some of those other issues. When you look at things like blockchain that are used to secure patient information, is creeping up, and it's something you need to look at. So this episode is to give you the pointers and the things that you need to be looking at in 2025. Now you also need to start looking at collaborations. What kind of joint ventures are you going to be able to do? Now when you look at building out AI platforms and using AI tools, they are very expensive. So as a healthcare business and a healthcare entrepreneur, what value would you get by partnering people who are already established in these fields? So if I am a dental office, a dentistry company, is there an AI company that's really established that I can partner, first of all, to bring more value into automating a big chunk of what I do, just so that I can free up more resources to be even save resources to become more efficient and get this done. The other thing that we need to be looking at is when we talk about marketing, you need to start looking at things like SEO driven marketing strategies. Now, when you target voice speech queries like best pediatric telehealth near me, these are things that are going to be easy to draw people to your channel. When you look at things like video content, doing TikTok, those are things that will help you meet a different generation of clients. So this episode is supposed to give you some outlook into what the current trends are and what you need to be paying attention to, because right now you cannot afford to ignore the trends that are happening. Otherwise, you will end this year in a situation where you have no grip and you have no place in the market, because people have evolved, people have developed, and people have used the resources that are available. So if nothing came out of this at all, you need to look at these three things. One, you need to look at how to use AI and actually automate at least 30% of your repetitive tasks. That's the first thing. The second thing is you have to start thinking about telehealth 3.0. And the third thing is that you have to pay attention to customer-driven care. Think about Amazon when you're running your business. I am not saying you should run healthcare businesses like Amazon, but think about it, because the customer is beginning to have that mindset of convenience and transparency. And if you can leverage on these, you'll be able to provide value to customers, retain them, and they will help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the Think Clinical podcast. My name is Dr. Hamza Asma. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again in our next episode. Have a good one.